Hotel Ikeja, Lagos. We're here to launch the book, The Rise of Digital Agriculture, authored by Akin Alabi. This book narrates and provides insights to the evolution of agricultural technology in Africa. And Agribusiness Weekend is here to give you updates live on our platform. I'm Joy Labaran. Enjoy. Agriculture has undergone a series of revolutions that have driven efficiency, yield, and profitability to levels previously unattainable. The rise of digital agriculture could be the most transformative of all this. Digital agriculture will not only change how farmers farm, but will fundamentally transform every part of agribusiness value chain. Akin Alabi, who authored the book, The Rise of Digital Agriculture, said in his opening speech that the journey had begun 5 years ago and the effect of the coronavirus lockdown has brought a new look for farmers to do things more differently.
Basically, two things actually came to mind when I wrote that book. Number one, changing the narrative of building newer generations. I call them the new agricultural talent in the entire ecosystem. And the only way you could attract these young agripreneurs or talent is using the power of digitalization, technology. So I knew that the only way I could easily get the information out is by writing a strong, valid, well-researched book that will speak to the minds of these younger generations about how they could begin to change their narrative of agriculture using the power of technology and digitalization, which I have done over 20 years. Now, a whole lot, because I picked it from research angle into current situations and the future. Because you need to look at where you're coming from. Where exactly are we in Africa in terms of technology? Basically, we are far behind. So I have to pick it from where we are currently, look at where we are now, and what is the prospect for the future. So it's quite a whole lot, looking at different types of technology, from the drones technology, technology that can be used for livestock industry, for crop production, name it. It's quite encompassing, quite large. I can begin to break it down so you get the book and know what exactly I wrote about in the book that would explain better on how we can begin to change the narrative of agriculture using the power of digitalization technology. It's simple. It's just simple, but go straight to focus and straight to target. That is what I did there.
The Commissioner for Agriculture, Bisola Olusonya, commended Akin Alabi and corporate farmers for their persistence and consistency, saying that they have over time shown diligence in their work. She commended the book, saying it was produced at the right time to bring in agriculture to limelight.
So the book, The Rise of Digital Agriculture by Mr. Akin Alabi, I think it's a phenomenal book. I think it's coming at the right time considering what is happening within the agri-space across the world. With the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've all seen that food is actually integral to keeping any economy secure, any economy healthy, any economy up and running. And I think digitization of this sector is actually critical for us to be able to meet the food security needs globally. Then when you come down to Nigeria and then to Lagos, this is actually very critical. In Africa, when you talk of digitization, when you talk of using technology, we're still a bit behind. But I believe that as more people read this book, as more people get enlightened and knowledgeable about the possibilities of using technology, of going digital in agriculture, then we begin to see the opportunities that are abound and people begin to latch onto these opportunities and we begin to see changes in our sector. It's very critical that people get this book, people read it, people understand, and then we begin to have conversations around how we can move from agriculture to agribusiness. What Dr. Akinwumi Adesina always says is we need to move away from that mindset that agriculture is a cake, that agriculture is a dirty job, that agriculture is for the illiterate. Agriculture is agribusiness in itself. So I think it's important for people to get these books, and I think I'm also very happy that this book has been written by a very young person working ardently with the Lagos State Ministry of Agriculture. And so I implore each and every one of us, the youth especially, to get this book, read it, see the opportunities, and then begin to collaborate with other people who have the resources to begin to bring this digitization and technology use to reality.
Bolaji Akimboro Voriankureli mentioned that the book is centered on transformation, which depicts the notion and future of agriculture. He encouraged the audience to read the book as it will open their eyes to digital agriculture. He quotes, "Your notion about agriculture has to change. Move from the speed of your mind and not your sweat and muscle."
And it's the essential message of the book is transformation, how technologies transform agriculture, and it allows the reader to understand that from three perspectives: the production side of the equation, the investment side of the equation, and the consumption side of the equation. Now, what people need to realize is that agriculture as a share of our economy is actually significantly larger than our oil and services sector, significantly larger than telecoms, significantly larger than even banking. But because it's such a sector that appears hidden, a lot of people do not look at it as an interesting segment. So this book is part of the early stage attempts to communicate one message to Nigeria and the rest of the world that this is agri-tech rising. That's the way I'll phrase it. I mean, you've heard about the achievement of financial technology companies, but the next wave of investment opportunities are agri-tech companies that are deploying technologies in agriculture to enable the wealth in agriculture to spread throughout the economy. So that's how the book changes things. This is my message to policymakers. We must quickly decide on what is the foundation of our economic system. There's no economy in the world that lifted these people out of poverty without being clear about that question. And we need to decide that the foundation of our economic system will be built around two things. Number one is our agriculture sector, where we produce things, not only what we eat, but what goes into medicines and other areas come from there in one form or another. And then the second bit is consumption. We have a large population. If we're clear about the foundation of our economic system and we mobilize everybody around that idea, you'll be amazed that we'll produce what I call the Nigerian miracle, which is the mass lifting of people out of poverty in a short period. But we need to be clear that this is the foundation of our economic system, and we'll mobilize everybody around that idea, and then we move at the speed of our mind, not at the speed of our muscles, as I like to say.
The book emphasizes and patronizes the investment opportunities in the agricultural sector based on technology, and also teaches the young to stretch their minds to be trained for creating things than for just getting a job. Conversation of Agriculture and Technology section comprising of speakers across the agri value chain, headed by Bidemi Ogedegbe of Farm Tribe, Ibrahim Megeri of Livestock 247, Edebong Akpabio, Africa Farmer Story, and David Apenda of Sterling Bank. Of it all was the unveiling of the book, headed by Bolaji Akimboro Voriankureli.
We launched this book in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. We say that this book will spread around the world. Amen. And will change lives around the world. Amen. And it will be a material that will enable agriculture in Nigeria in particular and Africa in general to move forward at the speed of God. It's not at the speed of man. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
And thank you very much.
Following the unveiling of the rise of digital agriculture was book reading by Larry Adelanwa of Interswitch, Victoria Madedo back of Industry Trust, Ayola Fatuna of Leadway Insurance, Samson Ogbole of Soiles Lab, and Bosin Omofai, international broadcaster, who buttressed on the importance of partnership. The book, The Rise of Digital Agriculture, encourages and explores the window of opportunities available in the digital native youth in the country that are interested in the Nigerian economy. So, don't be told what's in there. Go get your copy right away.
We thank God for today. It's a day that we have been looking up to. It's a day that I'm the most joyous, happiest man today, because knowing Akin Alabi, he has been a source of inspiration to me, and I know that God has brought us together to do great things for this generation and to change the narratives And like what Bosi Omofaye said, he lets people know that, look, partnership is the key. And he came in a direction that I've never had before in my life, when he said that, Bosi Omofaye said that even God has to come together and say that let us create man in our own image. That means there's nothing anybody can do alone. Like some of these adage that we have been hearing, that if you want to walk faster, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, you need to work with people. And this book, The Rise of Digital Agriculture, is a book that I recommend right now to all over the world, most especially Africa, knowing that agriculture is beyond farming. Knowing fully well that agriculture is something, the value chain is too high. And with the leading role that we are playing in Corporate Farmers International, I'm a co-founder of Corporate Farmers International, together with my partner Akin Alabi. I surely believe that the story of Africa will surely change. And I recommend this to all our institutions all over the country, and any African countries that want to develop their youth also should make sure that they get this book. I recommend it to all the schools, students, or entrepreneur, or anyone that wants to venture into this agriculture industry. The industry is too, is too big, and those of us that are playing inside it right now, we are still, we are still small. That's why we took it upon ourselves to develop the youth so that they can see beyond. And this is a book recommended for all the youth in Africa and Nigeria especially. And I surely believe that the story in the next 5 years, go and mark it and write it down. In the next 5 to 10 years, reading this book, changing the perception of agriculture, changing the perception of how commercial organization, and finance institutions and everything looking at agriculture is going to change. And we surely know that we will make Nigeria better than we met it.